Hi everyone, good afternoon and good morning for those of you who are thinking you are in your home country. Because, yeah, it might be still morning wherever you're coming from, and for someone who comes from another part of the world, it might be midnight. How are you doing? Good to see you. And first of all, thank you, Nathan, for thinking that I am useful to be a part of this conversation. So thank you for inviting me. And for all of you, thank you for accepting that I come and speak to you today. Well, I hope you're well. I don't see the wellness in your faces. Can I first see the wellness? Yeah? Where is the wellness? Who has mobile money here? Yeah, M-Pesa, mobile money, who has? Okay, can I send you my number? You send me some money? Yeah? You send me, eh? My number is +256 779 34 53 31. Yeah? +256 779 34 53 31. I've had that number for the last 17 years. So you can be sure it is my ID. Yeah? I had it before the national IDs were introduced in our country. Yeah? You deposited? Okay, whereby deposit I send back double. You can be sure. Whatever you want to say, whoever deposits I send back double. Yeah? Airtel, interoperability. You know interoperability? Does someone here know about something called interoperability? Yeah? If you know, please raise up your hand. Leaders, your leaders. So if someone knows about interoperability, tell me, and I have a small prize for anyone who knows interoperability. Okay? Seems no one knows. Does someone know anything called financial literacy? Yeah? Okay, can someone help us tell us what financial literacy is? Leaders. We are not going to start by shying away. Yeah? I want to financial literacy. Okay, I'll start with the lady.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Ndwati from Kenya. Financial literacy is the ability to manage the income and the spending. Is the ability to manage the income and the spending of your overall finances. And it's the kind of knowledge that you need so that you may manage whatever little gets into your pocket. Thank you.
Oh, okay. We're going to have opinions.
Thank you. My name is Aaron Ketayot from Gulu University. Financial literacy is first the knowledge on how to raise finances, then also to utilize it within the best means. And this is usually the ability to know how to make money, how to safeguard the money you've made that can sustain you for a longer time.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cynthia Natumanya. I'm a student of Makerere University Business School. To me, financial literacy refers to the ability to manage personal finances effectively, and you make informed decisions if it comes to investment, saving, anything concerning finances. Thank you.
The gentleman behind. We're coming to all of you. This session is mostly about all of us. Yeah?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm Peterson Mwero from the University of Eastern Africa, Baraton in Kenya. I'm a software engineering student. Financial literacy means understanding how cash flows. I read this book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. So you need to understand how to, financial literacy about wealth generation and how to use the available way to sustain yourself. Thank you.
Right, thank you. We shall first go to Ridwan. We're going to have a first come, first serve approach. Financial literacy. Yeah?
Good afternoon, everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm Among in Kelengari. I'm a student at the Islamic University in Uganda and pursue a bachelor in law. So, in my opinion, financial literacy is the ability a person has to comprehend various financial circumstances. For example, ability to manage debts, ability to invest and reinvest.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. How many of you have dates as you get other answers? How many of you have dates? Yeah. You have dates. Okay. Please.
Hello everyone, I'm Kevin Kiplagat, student leader from Chuka University, Kenya. Chuka. What I think and know about financial literacy, it first begins with your net worth. Your net worth is your assets minus all the liabilities. Liabilities include the debts and the other expenditures. So now, in order to manage your finances, you need to have a set of preference. This is a list of all your needs in the order of their importance to you. And then you realize that you don't need some need, you forgo that need. And then the value of that forgone need, you use it in the important need. And it is called the opportunity cost. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nisima Gift, the Vice Grade President, Lua University, and this is in Uganda.
How is the president?
According to me,
How is the vice chancellor?
how is?
The vice chancellor.
Our Vice Chancellor is fine.
Those are my friends. You send him greetings.
Okay.
Tell him I sent him.
Greetings will be sent. So according to me, I'm going to paraphrase. Financial literacy is the ability of one to know how to spend money, what to spend on, and the time to spend that money. For instance, spending within your own limits. Sometimes people see, because someone has bought something, you also want to buy that same thing. Yeah, so according to it is spending within your own limits. Thank you.
Thank you. I want someone who's not from Uganda or Kenya. Okay? Now, someone in Uganda and Kenya, we are banning Nico now. So let's get somebody else. Yes, please.
Hello,
Yeah.
I'm Samuel Ernest from Tanzania, KCC. I can say this involves investment of either money or your ownership or worth for the purpose of gain or multiplication. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Someone here?
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, I understand financial literacy as having the knowledge to budget, spend, and increase the money that you have. That is financial literacy for me. Thank you.
Someone else? Is there someone else? Okay, there is one other from what country? Yeah? No, Kenya will say it, no, please. Thank you. Rwanda? No, please. Thank you. From Rwanda. Where? Yeah, Rwanda here, the last one. That should be the last one, and we're going to have a very brief conversation and talk about a few things. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So now, whoever sent me money, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I want to ask you whether you had a budget for sending me money. Did you plan to send anyone money? Huh? So impulse buying has happened. So I came, I told you, this is nice, someone sent me money, okay? Of course, it speaks to many other things. There is an element of generosity, there is an element of understanding risk. You're willing to take risk to run something like an investment, which is very clear, yeah? So someone has risked with their 50K. And honestly, I'll send back 100K because I came with some budget, okay? Another has risked with 3,000, another 3,000, another 5,000 shillings. But I had my budget, so don't send any more. It's about to get capped. Please, I appreciate those who have sent money. But I want us to understand, did you have that on your budget? Huh? Did you have that on your budget for those of you who sent the money? Much as I appreciate it. Yeah? Some of you are philanthropists. Yeah, even philanthropists have budgets, okay? No matter how much philanthropy I do, yeah, I have a budget, not so? So for leaders here, I want to tell you a simple story of my own self-starting when I was about 8 years and some months, which was 9 years, really. I remember in my early days wanting to save money to start a rabbit rearing business. And I spent good time playing football. We used to save 150 shillings, Ugandan shillings. In Kenya, that is 5 shillings. In Rwanda, that is about 20. In Tanzania, it's about 100 shillings today. So we could play, each team could come with 150 shillings, and then the winner takes 300 shillings. And I remember us playing so many matches for me to raise 3,500 shillings. Of course, we won all of them. But I had a team that I had to feed by that time. That every end of the day we had to buy pancakes as an appreciation for their service. And somehow we were able to win almost every match throughout, and I was able to save 3,500 shillings. That ended up in me being able to buy my first rabbit. Oh, my second one. The first one we had killed it in a very funny way. We wanted to test something and somehow we lost it. So the second one now was after learning some lessons that we could cause trouble ourselves, and we saved 3,500 shillings. I said, not we saved. And somehow one day, a friend and classmate of mine called Mbiru Dennis received 3,500 shillings and he gave me a rabbit. Of course, in exchange for my money. And when I got this rabbit, I was very energized to look for more money to buy a male one. Everything else can be left to that, but fast forward, in not more than 12 months, I was able to have rabbits enough to help me earn at least 1.5 million shillings. Yeah, in not more than 12 months. So I was able to make some money. 1.5 million shillings, which is about $400 today. But because I started from having an activity, I planned and saved some money, I invested the money. We had to work through every day making sure our rabbits are fine. And then we had to plan and see how they multiply. And then we got this money from St. Louis College, Sogo, because they had a lab and students needed rabbits. So their pay was really high. Students could pay about 30,000 shillings or 50 for each one of them, which wasn't the market price anyway. So somehow I was able to sell more than 50 of them. And before I knew, I was able to buy my own bed at around 9 years. But that story is all about the process of money, planning, saving, having an activity to do, investing the money, and then seeing how it grows into something else. In the same year, I was very privileged to contest for being a head boy of my school. In my P3, the school was called Molanco. Now that school, where it was, it hosts a bar. So don't ask me where I started from. Things saying the school is a bar and it is okay. But I'm saying, in that same year, I was able to contest for head boy. And I remember getting 37 votes. And one of the voters was my young brother. We used to line up. I don't know how you do it in your spaces, but we used to line up. And those 37 votes, I still feel so proud of getting them up today. And they have been a very good inspiration for me to pursue leadership whenever I find a chance. Yeah? So, that story of me coming from a point of contesting for being a head boy, I remember the person I contested with, we used to stay in the same location. They were renting at our house. So we were like family and we knew each other. But because I wanted to take on something, it didn't matter. The only thing I knew is they announced that their positions are available, and the last one they announced was head boy. So I said, I want to be the head boy. I walked to my father, who is a teacher, and my mother was a teacher as well, not in the same school, of course. And I told my father I want to contest for head boy. He invested 300 shillings in buying me an envelope and also buying me a paper. And that night I wrote my application. So I was told there was a lot of ruckus. There was a lot of argument in the office allowing me to contest, even when I used to be. But somehow I was able to make it. God helped me and I was able to make it. I know some of us call God Allah, but whoever is the creator, yeah? Helped me, and before I knew, I was on the ballot. And before I knew, people were lining up to vote me. That today keeps in my head, and I always get myself reminded of the fact that for some reason, whenever there is an opportunity to lead, I should be able to stand up and lead. Yeah? Leadership in the sense of I might not ever get any payment back, but I might serve so well that my service gets to pay me a certain way. Of course, I'm speaking to leaders, that's why I'm now going to go to that side of the conversation. But before we go to that, let me talk about money and leadership combined. So my father, who is a retired head teacher, he was a head teacher for about 35 years, always reminds me that we were created to work, first of all. And because we are created to work, we should find meaningful ways of having something we do every day of our lives in the society we live in. And because we are created to work, he has never told me that we were created to be employed. I've never heard him say that. And I'm very sure there is a very big distinction between working and being employed. Not so? So I have had among us here, there are guild presidents, whether you are the deputy or whatever, you are a guild president. I have had many of us here are leaders. And then, for some reason, my colleague, my friend Nathan didn't tell me that this is such a beautiful organization, that there is a congregation of people from more than 7 countries. And have you thanked the people who brought you here together? Can you clap for them? That is not enough for the organizers. Thank you so much. Thank you to the organizers for making this happen. So, we are in a country and in a world, today we are hosted in Uganda, but we are in a world where most of our peers, most of the so-called young generation, think they are going to go to a university, study, and get employed. Yeah? We think we are going to study and get employed. How many of you are assured of getting a job somewhere? How many of you are assured of getting a job? Yeah, that you know as long as you're done the university, you're going to get a job somewhere. How many of you are assured? Okay, where are you going to get to? Where are you going to get yours? Okay. Yeah? Where are you assured of getting your job from? Can. Now can is dangerous. You can. Okay. Who else is assured of having a job? Yes, please. Where are you going to get yours?
After school immediately, I'm going to work in an organization that my mom runs. Yes, but I'll be paid. So it's okay.
Be paid. You're a planned child. So, planned graduates. Eh? Okay. Where are you going to get yours from? Where are you going to get yours from? Okay. He's working on a startup. Not you can. Two things. Okay? Yes, sir?
Thank you. Being a student of entrepreneurship at Makerere University Business School, one of the prerequisites before graduating, you must have your own job, like your own running business. So that at the end of the day, you reduce on the number of people looking for jobs on the market, but you create your own and even employ others. Thank you. Yeah, but
Work in progress, okay?
I do civil engineering,
Yeah.
and earlier I did my diploma, got done with it, and I'm practicing one now. I believe even after my bachelor's degree, I'll still be employing myself.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll come back to, thank you for your responses. Now, universities are shifting to saying you should create your own opportunity before you graduate, like you had us say, yeah? Someone else says, I can. Yes, you can. No one is saying you can't, yeah? But are you activating the can to deliberating about something you should be able to do? Now, in the list of conversations you should have, apart from our friend who is going to be working with her mom, that is an assured job. Apart from my children, who I'm sure all of them, I'll force them to create their own jobs, yeah? As long as they reach the level of working, as long as they are 13, they'll begin working every holiday, not child labor, but do something for themselves. I would want to first start by challenging all of us here to think of what you can contribute as an African citizen to solve the problem of unemployment. Yeah? In Uganda, for instance, the government only provides 475,000 jobs. And then the population is 47 million people. So where are the rest going to get their jobs from? And do you know how much government pays people? Do you know how much? Yeah? They are the least paid people anyway. That's why there's a lot of corruption in many governments around the world. If you don't know, yeah? I interact with so many colleagues who work with government, ministers, permanent secretaries, technical people, and all of them, for many reasons, are the least paid. So I want to tell you about self-employment. I told you about the rabbit business. So after the rabbit business, I transitioned into something called scrap selling, if you understand scrap. And we did a lot of buying and selling of scrap for a number of years. So whenever I was at Shark or at St. Mark, most of the time I could go to school with about $300 or a million shillings Ugandan currency. And everyone would ask me, where did you get the money from? So one day our head mistress had called my father and tell him that I have come with a lot of money that I haven't completed my school fees. And then my father told him, there is no money that is lost at home. If he has money, that is his money. Okay? So let him be, because we are going for campaigns. And as you know, the board deserves and requires some sweets, some bit of spice in some cakes so that people can vote you. So they go and like, okay, he has this money every single time. And then his fees is not paid all at once. But why? Sometimes I could go with school fees. Our father, our mother could trust us with the money. They tell you go with the money when you want to pay, because they know you're not going to misuse it. Yeah? We had built some level of confidence and trust, and they would be very comfortable leaving us to do whatever we want with the money. To the extent that sometimes our father could tell us, get this money and do some bit of buying for the things you need. Let me know how much you may need. But because they had seen us do something all the time. Later in life, when I went to my senior 6, in my vacation, I started working at High from senior 4. So in my vacation, I was able to get a job teaching in Makerere University. Don't ask me how, I also don't know how, but I had skills in computer science that no one else had. I had skills in multimedia, web technologies, and the likes. So, when I go teaching in Makerere, I get an opportunity as well to work with the Department of Social Work, managing data. And before I knew, I was able to employ 14 people, temporarily of course. That every single year I could employ 14 people for a minimum of 5 months. What they do is just BPO work, data entry, analysis, things like that. And the only challenge then was that everyone I was employing was older than me. And I don't know how I managed to deal with them, but at least I remember we had no argument any single day, and we treated all of us respectfully. That even if they find me today, they are still very friendly and they are appreciative of the opportunity I gave them. So with all that has happened, I was like, oh, like I'm telling you, I have found places, not because I am a unique species, but I have found myself being able to practice self-employment, but also create opportunities for other people. But because there is a choice I made earlier in my life. So the choice, I'm not going to tell you about the choice. I see people in churches who tell people, you have to make a choice of choosing Jesus. No, that's not the choice you're going to make, okay? The choice is going to be you appreciating the fact that you entirely have a role to play in transforming our social and economic well-being as a continent. The role you have to play is looking at the opportunities you have. The biggest opportunity you have is having the life. The second opportunity is having an education that so many people cannot afford. I'm sure you know that. As you're seated here, you are seated in a place of elite. You are seated in a place of privileged people, no matter how much you want to think about it. Why? Because the dropout rates in East Africa, for instance, from P1 to senior 6, the dropout rates are more than 67%. Yeah? So meaning more than 67 people out of every 100 that you started with your P1 have not seen the university blackboard. And where are they? Yeah. So, and here you are, dressed in white. You know what it means to dress in white? You know what it means? Yeah, it means you're going to use more soap to wash. It means you're going to use more water. Yeah? It means you must be able to afford the same kind of life. Yeah? So when I find someone here who has specs, yeah, I want to tell you, are living in a privilege. Why? Because every time when you dress up, you are dressed up with more than 300,000 shillings. Not so? So you are living a very expensive life. Whoever has a watch, how many of you have watches in your hand? Just show your hand up and I'll tell you. Okay. So you see, when you have a watch, you have something extra you are even able to spend on. Yeah? But you know what is funny with the generation we are in? Whoever has a watch has a certain other timer, clock on their phone. So they have a smartphone, so they can be able to tell time. And they can afford to have a watch. Is there anyone here who is barefooted? Yeah? Is there anyone here who is barefooted? Okay. So you all have shoes. And when we were growing up, we were in schools where people could not afford to buy shoes for starters. Have you ever heard of something like that? Oh, I'm sounding like a magician. Okay, no, those are realities, and they all speak to privilege for us. So as we come here today trying to discern leadership and understand our role, especially as youth, I'm not youth anymore. I made 36 this year, so I left the youth circle. Yeah? But as we speak to people who we were like some years ago, I want to tell you that you must make sure you have a deliberate and active contributing role to solving the problems of unemployment of our continent. Okay? It will be very sad one day to find one of the individuals in this room going to Dubai to look for a job, yeah, as a cleaner. Who wants to go and work in Dubai as a cleaner? Huh? How many of us leaders here want to go and work in Dubai? You're silent, so you don't want. Eh? So who wants to be a president of your country? Who wants to be a president here? Oh, okay, good. The president, Mr. and Mrs. President, welcome. Okay? It doesn't depend on the country. So who is scared? Someone from Rwanda is scared. Why? Okay. So, okay. The president, you might become a president in your home. And you'll be a president. Not so? We have presidents here. I mean, I asked you who wants to become a president, and I expected someone to tell me we are presidents already. Okay? Now, when you want to practice leadership, my father always reminds me about two things. And this thing directly related to financial literacy, and the only things I wanted to talk about today. Okay? Forget about all the things that I've been telling you. I want to tell you about two things. Can someone guess the two things? Yeah? Can someone guess the two things? If you guess, I will give you a scholarship forwarded 3 years ahead of time in High People University for a master's. Okay? It is not today in 2028. But if you tell me the two things I wanted to tell you about today. Yeah? Two things that I want to tell you about today. About financial literacy. Huh? Give it a guess. What are they? Okay. Thank you. What's your name? Christine. Okay, I'm not going to ask you another. So I want to tell you about two things. And they're very simple. They have nothing to do with generating money. And neither they have to do with investing it. But they're just two things. One is called a need, and another is called a what? A want. Okay? The need and a want. We have just recently concluded a new digital financial literacy training toolkit with the Central Bank of Uganda, where I am chairperson of the Inclusive Financial Working Group. But I want to tell you, because I cannot exploit the entire conversation, but I would be very happy to leave here when we have discussed needs and wants. Okay? So some of our biggest problems in the world originate from us not appreciating what we need and what we want. For example, can someone help us differentiate what a need is and what a want is? Okay, just two people.
Thank you. My name is Susan from DRC. Needs are things we cannot live without. For example, water. And wants are those things we can survive without. For example, that banana.
For Susan from DRC. You want to supplement? Okay.
My name is Don from Burundi. A need is a I think when you miss it, your life is not complete. When a wants, it's something you want, maybe to supplement to have a good life.
Thank you. So, from Burundi, you know Natasha? Yeah, she's my friend. You send my greetings. Or if you've never talked to her, I can call her on WhatsApp video. Now you talk to yesterday. She's a multi-ordinary. So, from here, I see my friend Suzanne, right? Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you too as well. Now, a need and a want. And how do they relate to leadership? So I was telling you that my father always tells me to appreciate needs and wants. Because I don't just lead myself, I lead teams of people. Today, I oversee more than 27 startups. And all of these startups have needs and wants. All of them. The businesses have things they need to live and grow. They also have wants. One startup owner thinks they must have a car to do their work. Who of you here came driving? Who came driving? Is anyone here come driving? Who? Yeah. And the leader is here? Is anyone of you come driving? Did you reach? Yeah? Did you reach here? Okay. So now, was having a car a need? Yeah? So it wasn't a need. So it was a want. So how many of you here need cars? How many of you here need cars today? What do you need it for? To do what? Okay, how many jobs do you have in construction that need the car today? Thank you. You don't get it. So it is not a need today, is it? That you can't do without it? So if I gave you my truck, one of my trucks, today, will you give me business? Even if I said I'm giving it to you on loan. Yeah, I call someone, I call Matthias, tell him, oh, I call anyone, I tell them, please give him one of my trucks. Would you have business tomorrow? Does it qualify to be a need? Okay. Okay, are you getting the gist of needing and wanting? Now, he wants a car, a truck, but he doesn't have any need for it. Okay? How many of us here today need insurance for your health? How many of us need insurance for your health? Huh? Don't be scared. It is okay to be wrong. My friend here needs insurance. And we all need it, not so? Why? Because none of us here knows how we are going to be tomorrow. Do you? What if you're moving out and something knocks you? Yeah? So, some things might actually be need. I said anyway. How many of us here need lunch? Yes. Lunch. Please, whoever is watching, record. Whoever doesn't need lunch should not get lunch today. Okay. Okay, so if you're not fasting, if you don't have any restrictions to have food, then it is obvious that you need to have a meal, not so? And then you have a privilege that you can have lunch and dinner. And you also had breakfast. And someone else can only depend on having one meal a day. Okay? So it is a very, very pressing need for them to have food. Why? They can't even have 3 meals. Then another person, how many of you need to go to the beach? They need to go to the beach. Yeah? Okay. So, are we appreciating needs and wants? So this is what I want to tell you about needs and wants and leadership combined. So when we think about needs and wants and then being a leader, my father always tells me that we should appreciate every single individual stakeholder in our business's needs and know how to help them achieve their needs. For instance, like I told you, I oversee 27 startups. One of the things that I know all of them need in this age and time is they need connectivity. They need internet, not so? They need devices like phones and maybe laptops. But then, like our friend who wants a truck, we will never get a loan to buy you a laptop until when we know what you're going to use it for. Okay? But take an example of a teacher who is supposed to help you teach 50 students in your school every day, and they're very good teachers. But they have to travel for 10 kilometers every day, and they're always late by 30 minutes because they have to walk. As a leader, what would you do for them to make sure they move fast? And this place has no buses, nothing, and they're willing to help themselves. What would you do for them as a leader? Yeah? What would you do for them? Okay. Think about it. Everyone will have an answer. So now, for me, this is what I would do. And I'll tell you from what my father told me. He told me one time in about 1988, he had a very good teacher. And the teacher could come late, and he was assumed as very argumentative because he liked having his meals in time, because he used to ride a very old bicycle for a long distance, but he wanted to be at school in time. So one day when he becomes head teacher of this school, he comes and everyone tells him that one is a very bad teacher. He's always calling, he's greedy and all that. And he had to have a personal conversation with him after seeing how he was engaging and teaching his students. So my father told me he bought him a new bicycle. And then he didn't tell anyone that his son had bought it. But from the day when he bought the bicycle, this gentleman never fouled with anyone ever again. And neither was he ever late again. Why? Because he needed to have means of transport. Not so? So what do you need leaders to create jobs? Huh? What do you need? Do you know what you need to create jobs for others? Have you ever thought about it? Yeah? Now you are having a conference where 7 countries are convening, and this is a luxury for you. We never had any chance like this in our time. Okay? You should count yourself very lucky. It could take more than 3 days to come from Nairobi to Uganda, even in 1998. Okay? But the distance is just 1,200 kilometers. It could take more than a day to come from Kigali to Kampala. Just the distance is just 800 kilometers. I always drive through that, and I reach in about 8 hours or 9 today. There is infrastructure, the roads are better, the means are there. I mean, I can access very many means, bus and the lights. Coming from Burundi through those mountains will take 2 days. Today, it's practically 1 day, not so? By bus. By air, it is just 45 minutes. So, today, unlike many other things that have happened, for you are living in a world of so much privileges, a lot of access to information that we never had access to. The only thing I remember when we were studying was every single time you had to walk into a library. And then for every book that was in the library, there were more than 6 people who needed it. So someone always had to come and book a week before and say, I will need to read this book. Otherwise, you don't have it. Okay? For you, your library is in your palms. It is in your hands. Yeah? And that clearly speaks to the fact that you are leaders of the generation. Apart from you having the devices and the gadgets, you are also very well enlightened with knowledge to help you lead so many other people. I'm sure every one of us here has a village they come from, and you know people there are still struggling to know how to use TikTok and WhatsApp. Not so? People are struggling to know how to use a smartphone, and here we are, all of us here. So when I was teaching introductions to computer science in Makerere, phones, watches, and the likes were always regarded as PDAs, personal digital assistants. Have you ever heard of that? Software engineering students. Have you ever heard about that? PDAs, yeah? So we used to call them PDAs, personal digital assistants. Today, the same devices are the computers. So I can do almost every other work that I used to do on a computer using my phone, including rendering the video. You know that. How many of you here know CapCut? You know CapCut, eh? And you use it. Now that thing you do for us used to take us hours rendering a video of 1 minute. About 9 or 10 hours on our Windows 1997. You have a hard drive which is an HDD and it is 500 maybe GB, was it GB? No, it wasn't. 200, yeah? And then you have RAM of maybe 1 or 2 gigabytes, and literally everything is so slow. But many of us here have phones that have 2 GB RAM, 4, 5 and the likes, okay? And that speaks directly to us having the privilege to lead the next generation, okay? Instead of us thinking of being lazy and sitting in offices to wait for salary, to wait for people to come and work to us, and then we do all our sorts of corruption, I want to challenge all of us young leaders to get out of our comfort zone and use our knowledge and the skills to go out and empower other people. Through empowering people who have not access to education, through training and capacity building of different people, farmers, informal traders, and everywhere around, you are going to find your niche and you're going to find a team that will lead beyond campus, okay? And then you're going to find a market that will lead you to the prosperity you want as an individual, but also the prosperity of the continent that we so much love, okay? Leaders, who is going to go and do something? Who is pledging to go and do something? You see, you don't want only one person is pledging. Two, eh? Huh? Who is pledging to do something? Please take the microphone to them. I want you to tell us what you're pledging to do. I know you're hungry, and I hate standing in the middle of people's meals. Eh? Yeah, so.
Thank you so much. As a leader, and okay, I pledge to share this information to leaders out there, not only in the institutions that we are in, but also in the communities that we belong to. There are very many leaders that have not been able to continue up to this level of the university, but they really need this financial literacy to operate their businesses and set up their chapati business and manage it to a greater extent so that they can get profits out of them and also expand their businesses. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Who else is pledging?
Yes, thank you very much. This is Chimuli Brian, the Guild President of the University here in Uganda. Truly, to me, I would like to take a conceptual view upon that, and I would like to pledge to take a clear development, perhaps ahead towards the community, so sustain to live with, and comparing out a great impact towards each and everything that is within our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. We appreciate your pledge. Okay, the resident wants to pledge, so let me conclude. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for being such a great audience. First of all, can you stand up a little bit? I know you're going to a lunch. Don't get so tired. Just a little bit and tell your neighbor to learn and appreciate their needs and wants. Yeah? Learn and appreciate your needs and wants. Thank you. Please have your seats. So please have your seats. Let's conclude. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, for whatever it may be, and whatever I can tell you that I would wish to learn about financial literacy, especially in this digital age where there are so many tools that can help us do so many things, I would request all of us to ensure that we, starting today, appreciate needs and wants. The needs are the things that you cannot do without in your life, because we don't want to walk here naked. Eh? No, we don't want to naked view. Zinjasoromba happened, and you're in a different world. But then we don't want you to stay hungry because you went buying an iPhone that you can't afford. Okay? So a friend of ours had a nice-looking girlfriend, and she needed an iPhone. And then he had to pay rent of 200,000 each month. So he used all his money and sold our items, shoes, watch, to buy the girlfriend the iPhone. And she was so happy. She thanked him a lot. But then when she thanked him the next day, he couldn't have the meal. And he was looking so shabby. And because she had an iPhone, he wasn't her class anymore. So my friend, our friend David, had to lose her. Okay? He lost her. Why? Because he doesn't appreciate needs and wants. So with everything we want to achieve, the discipline for managing money, learning how to save, how to invest, and the likes, and planning for our retirement, we also need to carry some sort of integrity with us. Okay? We need to have some discipline. If you don't have money, if you are a person who thinks you will use money as you want, if you're a person who thinks that you will get money for everyone to pay them and you use it for yourself, and then the next day you run to another country and another, the digital world will catch up with you. One day, not so many years from now, you will not be able to run to any country as long as you have a digital identity. Why? You can be tracked anywhere and you shall find you wherever you run as a leader. Yet you had a chance to go to school and have some sort of skills and knowledge. Okay? So for whatever we want to do, dear leaders, ladies and gentlemen, as we seek financial literacy and appreciate needs and wants, if you appreciate your needs, you will find ways of saving. Okay? I wouldn't tell you about the rules of saving, that you save before you do anything, but I will tell you about the fact that for whatever you want to do, think about the fact whether it is something you want to use or something you need to use. Okay? The differentiator of the two alone is enough for you to know how you live a better life starting today. Okay? And as I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to urge all of you leaders and those who are not leaders to ensure that you find a leadership role to take on today until you ever die. Okay? Leadership in itself is a great job that as long as you ever choose to lead people, whether you're leading them to clean a compound, whether you're leading them to arrange this room and make sure it looks good, whether you're leading us to learn something every day, you will never fail to find an opportunity for yourself. Okay? God bless you. Thank you so much.